also just want to thank all of you and Touch a Life Foundation and what the support you're providing to so many folks who are trying to make a difference in this world. Just as I've gotten to know more about the efforts and support and the connection you're providing, I'm just so thankful for your leadership. And thank you for the theme of today, the World Kindness Day, which I had to remind myself of this morning because my youngest just came home for Thanksgiving from UCLA, where she's a student. So my middle child lives in the city of San Francisco, decided to stay with us this weekend, and of course came home at 1:30 in the morning, which then woke up the dog, and so I had to remember to be kind this morning when I talked to her. And I don't know if any of you are college football fans, but I grew up around here, went to law school at Stanford. My wife is a Berkeley fan, so on big game day, we always have to remember to be very kind to each other and not let that rivalry get in the way of our marriage. So today I wanted to speak a little bit, putting World Kindness Day in the context of our collective future and the most important asset that we have, and that's our kids. And how do we make sure that every child has the support to reach their full potential? And in the context of that, I run an organization called Children Now, and I want to speak to you a little bit at the end about the children's movement of California, which fits so well into the theme of Touch a Life and what Barry was highlighting, because it's really a network and a connection where how we're working with thousands of organizations and businesses to really ensure every kid has the support that they need. So let me start with a story, though. Before I got into nonprofit, being an executive director, I was in politics and represented Silicon Valley in the state legislature in California. And I'll never forget one of the first visits I had after I was first elected a number of years ago. It was actually in December, this time of year when it was cold, and I visited a homeless shelter, and I was walking around talking to folks, and I was telling them, true story, I was meeting with the governor of California the next day, and I wanted to know, what should I tell the governor? What can I do to help you? So I went up to this one woman and said, what should I tell the governor? How can I help you? And here, this woman in a homeless shelter said, I don't need anything. Just tell the governor to make sure that my kid gets good health care and a great education. And that exchange has stayed with me throughout my career, and I think really embodies what all of us are about, and that is, how do we make sure our kids have a better life than we do? How do we make sure that we provide them the support, not only because it's the right thing to do, but it's so critical for our economy and our democracy here in this country. So what does that mean to make sure that every kid gets the support and the needed supports in education and health as they grow up? Well, at Children Now, we go from beginning all the way to age 26, and I'll just rapidly run through some of the supports that we're talking about. Childcare. Every kid, every family should have access to the childcare that makes sense for them, either at home, through a center. The United States spends $500 per capita family on childcare. Netherlands, it's $30,000. Spain, it's $10,000. Most countries spend thousands of dollars on early childhood per family, making sure that families have that support in the early years. It's absolutely critical that every family in this state and throughout the country has that access to childcare. Early childhood health. The United States has a great health system when you're really, really sick and need great care, but we don't do as well as prevention. And in fact, even though the federal law says every kid's supposed to get a whole set of screenings in their earliest years, most kids don't get those basic screenings. So we need to make sure every kid gets the health care they need, and that starts early, and all the supports and screenings early in their life. Preschool in California actually just took a big step forward where we're going to work to ensure every child has access to preschool, which is so critical. We've learned that most of the brain develops by age 5, and so those early years are so critical to make sure kids have the support. And then our K through 12 system. Some kids in this area and throughout the state, throughout the country, go to schools where they have every teacher's outstanding, great facilities, all the supplies they need, the supports they need, after school activities, great STEM program, great arts program. Every kid needs that. Every kid should have that. That's something that we can do. And then access to college and career. I mean, we don't need to tell kids what they need to do. We need to give them the support so they can make the choice and basically be able to say if they want to go to college, they'll be able to have the support to get there. And on the health side, another issue that's been very much a focus in recent years, but has been there quite a while, is our mental health crisis. Every kid needs to be able to have the support, and it's just like physical health. You break your arm, you know you can go to a doctor and get support. If you have a mental health issue, we should make sure that a kid has the support to be able to go seek a professional and get that help. And then the other piece of work we work on, we talk about making sure everyone cares about all kids, every kid, but we certainly know we need to worry about our own kids. So for those of us who have kids, it's those kids, but we all have kids, foster youth. We are their parents. We collectively as the state are the parents for these foster youth. And so we need to make sure that every foster youth in their state gets good health care and a great education. And we have a ways to go there. In fact, while we've made a lot of progress on high school graduation rates, only half of our foster youth graduate from high school. So that's a huge area. So I'm laying out like a lot of big goals and like, well, really, can we do this? I want to tell you how we at Children Now, really using the inspiration of what TAL's all about, is seeking to get there. And it's through a connection strategy and the Children's Movement of California. And it's a very simple idea, a lot of work, but simple idea. And that is, if you're a nonprofit, if you're a business, if you're an organization, and you care about kids, be connected through the Children's Movement Network. It's that simple. Just sign up, and you sign up on our website at childrennow.org. We have almost 5,000 organizations and businesses already part of this, 4,996. We're almost at 5,000. And that includes small nonprofits in the area. It includes businesses like Adobe's a member, Children's Hospital Associations, lots of businesses, lots of nonprofits, lots of groups. And it's a way we're able to connect all folks who care about kids to speak up and speak at the same time to really push forward needed changes and supports for kids. And that's been incredibly successful as a result of collective efforts. And this is where hundreds of groups speak up at the same time, pushing our governor and elected leaders to do right by kids. It's resulted in billions more for expanding child care. It's resulted in ensuring every kid now has health insurance in California. It's led to a 24/7 hotline for foster youth. As I mentioned, foster youth need a lot of support. This gives them a chance at any time to call a hotline and get support. It's led to significant professional development for our teachers teaching English learners, and the list goes on. So this collective impact of bringing folks together and connection to really push for policies that support our kids is crucial. And it was mentioned before how many, the large number of nonprofits. In California alone, there are 93,000 nonprofits focused on kids. That's great. Lots of great ideas being innovated, lots of supports for kids in different ways. But when it comes to pushing for large-scale change, you can't have 93,000 independent voices. That's not how it works. So we need a connecting effort, and that's what the children's movement is all about. So to me, when I think of kindness, it's kindness every day to your friends and to family and those around you. But kindness is also doing right by all of our kids. And so I urge you and look forward to staying more connected with TAL. I just so appreciate the support you're providing. Actually, I realized just, as I'm learning more this morning, we could really help connect all the thousands of groups in our network and see how we can be better connected with you and get your support. But central to this is just making sure that we do prioritize kids and make sure to make sure we do all we can to reach their full potential, because it's the right thing to do. It's the smart economic thing to do. It's critical to our future, and it's the kind thing to do. So I appreciate your time this morning and so appreciate your support and look forward to a world where every one of our kids has the support that they need. Thank you.